Mine and Flora, welcome to Real Talk with Pam. I'm so excited about this conversation we're about to have.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Great, great, great. So today we're talking about entrepreneurship, and you guys have had amazing journeys. And mine, you are a fashion designer extraordinaire, and you are an amazing entrepreneur in the export and industry, bringing people together. I want to talk about how you both pivoted because that was not your background in the first place. Mine, I think you worked in the oil industry. You, Flora, you worked in the telecom industry. So I'm really intrigued to find out how you both pivoted into entrepreneurship and what led you to do that. So either of you can start first.
Okay, thank you very much, Pam. Thank you so much. Real Talk with Pam. So the mine actually started as a child. I mean, my parents were entrepreneurs. I was born into an entrepreneurial home. My dad was an industrialist. He owned a factory where he manufactures local paints. My mom, a professional chef. So the entrepreneurial background I came from actually nurtured my passion for entrepreneurship. But of course, after school, I had to go to the telecoms industry where I majorly was in the sales and marketing and branding department. So that was actually where all this inspiration started from my parents.
Great, fantastic.
Thank you.
What about you, mine?
Actually, I would say my grandma was a tailor.
Okay.
As a young child, I would just love watching her weaving, threading, making lovely clothes from nothing. But my parents were in the academia and they wanted me to go and be a doctor. So, of course, I did have my training as an environmental technologist. Then I went into public health, but passion for fashion has always been with me.
Right.
So after living abroad for 7 years, I came back after doing all my corporate career stint. I said to my husband, I'm going to fashion school. And he thought I was crazy. He said, are you serious? I said, I am going to fashion school. Something about fashion has always been in me. That passion was so strong. And when you're a stay-at-home mom, you haven't worked for 7 years.
Right.
It just ignited in me. And I said, okay, I'm going back to fashion school. I'm going to fashion school. So I trained as a fashion designer, even though I had all those degrees, and I started the business. I actually started business when I discovered a gap in the Nigerian fashion industry when I came back.
Okay.
Because I found out that we were wearing contemporary clothes, European clothes, but we were not really wearing our own outfits to work. And being in the corporate space, I said, you know what, I'm going to create African clothes for women to wear to work. So that's how it started. I started it as a hobby and it became a business. So that's how my journey has been.
Amazing, amazing. And Flora, you're the founder of Made in Africa brand ambassador, MABA for short, and you curate a lot of conferences and trade fairs for people to come together. When did you realize it was your calling to do that? And how did you sort of pivot into that from the telecoms industry?
Actually, it's just been my desire to have African-made products abroad. I mean, when you travel abroad, you go to the mainstream stores, you see that African products are relegated to the African stores. You don't get to see a lot of African products on the mainstream stores like Walmart, consuming in Spain and all that. So, I mean, that became a thing for me. Coming back to Nigeria, I looked through the entrepreneurial ecosystem, especially for locally produced goods. And I discovered that we have a gap. There's a gap, number one, in terms of the content, the quality of the products themselves, and then secondly, the quality of the packaging. So rather than just keep talking about it at conferences, at seminars, I said, let's get to work. Let's do the dirty work, which is coming together and then training and, putting heads together to see how we can improve on the quality of products that are made locally for the acceptance we need to even have as a nation locally, and of course global acceptance, because you cannot make products and want people to accept it when you locally, you haven't even accepted it. You don't even
Right.
use it.
Right.
So that's why we started to work together. Let's put in the work. Let's come together and churn out quality made products. Let's look at our packaging. How do we
Right.
package our products?
Right.
Most times you see products that are made locally, they are packaged so poorly.
Right.
So how can we do this right? So let's learn from those who have done it better across the globe and see what they've done, how they do it, how they source this packaging materials and all that, and what they need to do. So we had to bring in experts, in packaging to train our members. We formed a community. We had to build a community of like-minded individuals in local manufacturing. Let's come together, learn how to do it better, of course, for our products to be accepted in mainstream stores abroad. So we have to pay attention to all these things. So that was actually the showstopper for me.
Fantastic. So for you, Mayan, how you're in an industry that I would say is, I don't want to say saturated, but do you think it's saturated?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Not at all.
but it's definitely an industry that there's a lot of competition. We Nigerian women, we like our fashion, and there are so many incredible fashion designers out there. You're my favorite. But how do you stay different? How do you keep going and stay on at the top of your game in this industry?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of difficult because there's a lot of noise out there. Trends are being thrown at you. Sometimes it gets overwhelming. You look at social media, oh, this looks very nice. Everybody's liking that. Everybody's talking about that. The key thing is to just stay authentic to yourself. And that is what I have done. When I started this brand, I wanted to make clothes for women who would be comfortable in what they wear, look classy, look timeless. And with everything I do, even though I pivot left and right, I always come back to that center where I say, my women have to look this way. You need to see a Mayan dress and identify this must be Mayan. It has to just look feminine, it has to look timeless, it has to look classy. So if you follow trends, then you just lose your way. So the key thing is actually to stay authentic to yourself. So when people come to shop with you, they know, okay, for Mayan, go to work clothes. For Mayan, she's my go-to for, I'm going for a wedding. I need to wear something nice and stylish, go to Mayan. My son is graduating, go to Mayan. Those are my my niche areas. I don't do everything. So I've just decided to stay authentic to myself and keep my brand in that space.
That space. I must say that, having sort of worked with you on some of the dresses I wear, you're fantastic at getting a woman's figure right, because I've got big, massive hips. And mine just knows how to sort of make me look slimmer than I am. And I really appreciate that. And I think that's actually, not everyone can do that. So that's actually awesome.
It's a uniqueness.
So for you, Flora, I want to know, in your chosen industry, what type of competition have you found? Because I'm sure pivoting into entrepreneurship, there's been challenges. What type of competition have you found in your industry, and has it been healthy? What are some of the challenges, and how have you been able to sort of navigate that?
Like Mayan just said, there's competition everywhere. But as entrepreneurs and as someone who is focused, that focus word is always at the tip of my finger. So when you look at the trends, especially on social media, you see a lot happening, you just remember focus. Focus on your niche, focus on what you primarily set your objectives. Like for us in Maba, we have mandates. We have our key mandates. We have our key focus areas. So our key focus area is to nurture local entrepreneurs to be able to produce global products that meet global standards. And then secondly, we focus on export oriented. Let us export. Let's churn out exportable products that will make it at the globe. And people get to the stores and they buy it and they don't even think, oh, this is locally made. They just buy it the same way they buy others that are made in the US and in the UK. So that's our focus. And we don't drift away from that focus. So why we see a lot of competition, both healthy and unhealthy. What we do for the healthy ones, we collaborate a lot. We partner with organizations that share the same mandate with us, that their vision and mission aligns with what we do. We do collaboration over competition. That's it for me. So when I see an organization that is actually tilting towards our vision, or our vision aligns, we collaborate. They either reach out to us because they see the enthusiasm and they see the passion in what we're doing. They reach out to us, and sometimes we get recommended to work with them, and they talk to us for collaboration or partnership. So that's it for me: collaboration over competition.
I love
Then
that.
for the
I like that
then
statement
for
too.
the unhealthy ones, of course, it's something you cannot take away. It is
Yeah.
life. It comes with life. And somehow women are more competitive than men. So when you come across, people who are competitive, I've had some of my members tell me, oh, there's this lady on social media, she's doing it this way, she's making a lot of noise. Even the traction that we've made in our community is a lot bigger, but because we don't make so much noise on social media, people tend to think, oh,
Yeah.
the person is doing a lot more than we're doing. So I get a lot of that when my members come, oh, Flora, we need to do it this way. There's this lady on social media, she's all over on Instagram. I'm like, that's not our niche. We have our own niche. Let's focus on our area. What's this lady doing? Sometimes you find out that some of the things they are doing, they're even drifting away from their niche just to follow trends, like
Yeah.
she said,
Right.
just to be out there on social media, all over the place, and the noise and all that. So we sift through the noise on social media and we focus on our niche area. So that's how we've been able to navigate through the challenges of competition, healthy and unhealthy. So that's
Amazing.
it for
I
us.
love that
I like
where you
it.
say collaboration.
I like
over
it too. I'm gonna
competition.
borrow it.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Well, we're going to take a quick break right now. We'll come back and continue this incredible conversation with Maya and Flora. Welcome back to Real Talk with Pam. Today we've been talking to Mayan and Flora about their journey of entrepreneurship. So, Mayan, tell me, in your industry, which is the fashion industry, what are some of the challenges that you faced?
Well, one thing I want to say is that failure or challenges is part of the business.
Right.
It's part of the journey. You cannot avoid it. There's nothing you can do to avoid it. So for me, it's been human resources. It's very difficult to recruit and retain.
Right.
Whether you're talking about tailors, admin staff, that has been a major challenge.
Why do you think that is?
Because finding the right skill is important, and it's very difficult to find the right skill. And one thing I can say is people do not train enough before they call themselves experts. So you might take an atelier or a tailor who tells you he is very, very experienced, and you find out he's not. And you're willing to train this person to get to that level where you want the person to be, and the person doesn't want to because he believes he knows it. Right. So that has been a major challenge, that human resources, finding the right person for the job. One thing I've also seen is capacity building. You don't have enough capacity. We do not have. Fine, the fashion industry is saturated, so it may seem. There's so much room for us to build more. Capacity building is a big problem here. You don't have enough capacity. So that's why it's difficult. Like Flora was talking about exporting. It's difficult for us to really export on a large scale because we don't have that capacity to do so.
Yeah.
So that has been one of the challenges I've faced: human resources, capacity, and also financials. When you do business, you're not adept at managing your finances. You learn along the way. So you need to always find somebody to manage that financials, whether it's costing, pricing. You look at your margins closely, because a lot of people do businesses is cash in, cash out. Are you making the profit? Are you actually making profit, or you just collecting, exchanging money for goods? So those are the challenges I've faced really in the business: human resources, finance part of it, and building capacity.
And what about also in the Nigerian context in terms of it being is it an enabling environment for you?
Well, we know, we already know what Nigeria is. We don't have an enabling environment.
Sure.
You create it. Like where I work, I live in an estate and I buy electricity almost at 100,000 naira every week. It's a lot of money, yes. But the estate has created an environment, given me power so that I can do my business. Okay, you don't even have the materials you need for the job. So you find yourself, you're clawing, exporting from here, calling this vendor. So those are all challenges, you know. The environment is not enabling, but being Nigerians, you know, we are very persistent people. We are resilient, and we try to make do with the little we have.
Sure.
So those are all the challenges, but somehow we tend to come out of that fire.
Yes.
So that's
Well
just
done. It's not easy. What about you, Flora?
It's no different from what Maya has said, but I'll just add one or two. For us in our sector, local production is basically power. Because I mean, we run on diesel 24/7 every day because production has to go on.
Yeah.
Especially for those in the food sector. Some of us, we have to power up generators every single day, and that's a lot. So by the time you add all this cost together, sometimes I hear people say, oh, locally made products are expensive, more expensive than the imported ones. And sometimes it's true because, I mean, some of these imported products, the country where it's coming from, the environment is enabling their economy. The government has some sort of support for small, medium enterprises in terms of finances. So by the time they put all these things together, it makes their product a bit lesser in terms of pricing as compared to a Nigerian entrepreneur who is the power. You generate your power, you source your raw material, you pay your production staff, you are the one that handles your marketing budget and branding as well. By the time you put all these things together, the product becomes pricey. So one major hurdle of being a Nigerian entrepreneur is just to be resilient. That's just it. You just have to, because the environment is not friendly. So you have to create that friendly environment for you to be able to thrive. So entrepreneurship is all about challenges. So
let me add to what Flora said. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. I mean, very well spoken. I want to say something. Funding, getting money.
Yes.
It's so hard. The interest rate is through the roof. I mean, recently I had to take a mortgage at 19%. It's a lot of money. Yes. Because I was renting, and after 3 years, my landlady needed the place. So I needed to rent again. But my friend said, do not rent again. Why don't you just buy? It's huge. You know what I mean? You're paying so much for that. So it's just, it's so much. But we just pull through. We just try to make it work.
Yes.
You just try to make it work. But these are all the challenges you face as a business. Because getting a loan, it's difficult. And when you get one, the interest rate, I even got 19. Now it's even higher. So you can imagine entrepreneurs who are looking for loans now, how much they have to pay just to secure that funding.
Yeah, it is challenging.
I think the thing is every challenge has a solution, and that's what entrepreneurship has come to stay. I mean, to solve those problems. So I feel for the funding one, there are organizations that we can actually work with, like the Bank of Industry, to support SMEs for low interest loans. I know they've come to our event last year during the exhibition, and they spoke about a lot of interventions that they have for SMEs. So we're now going to be working with them to package some for our community members. So I think with things like that, it actually makes capital or funding a bit lesser or easier on the Nigerian entrepreneurs. And again, there's another initiative we suggested to some organizations that are actually willing to fund it, is to have like an incubation hub. I know Lagos State government, I'm not speaking for them, I don't work for them, but when they've done well, we need to give them kudos. There's something they also did. Lagos State government did churned out incubation centers around, some local governments. I think they did it in partnership with local governments, where Nigerian entrepreneurs can go there and set up their own hub and do their stuff. So the machineries are already in place. So I think it's just there, you pay a stipend and you get to use some of the facilities. So that also helps with entrepreneurs who have issues with, getting a space and all that. So the incubation center. So we know that the government cannot do it alone. And that's why organizations like MABA, we've come to leverage the expertise we have to help Nigerian SMEs to be able to
Yes.
do this. So we're also trying to get a production hub and also create access to markets for our members where after you've so like what actually inspired us to look at this was there was a time we had a collaboration with an international organization in Landmark Event Center. They had a program, we partnered with them, some of our members showcased what they had, and we got approached by a Chinese firm
Right.
that wanted to have some of the products, the agricultural produce, in tons shipped to China.
Right.
Where is the capacity, like she mentioned? So for things like this, we work with a financial institution who would give a support that will enable us to generate the kind of bond we need to be able to do that export business. So things like these are things that we just need to create more partnerships. Like in 2025,
Yes.
where I'm actually interested and impressed with this kind of media programs where would go live and we talk about these things, and these organizations, they are hearing and they are coming to talk to us. Let's partner to get these things done a lot better, to make it easier for Nigerian entrepreneurs, because let's not lie, entrepreneurship in Nigeria is hard.
It is very hard.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
Really hard.
But this is beautiful because one of the reasons I started this program was actually to bring people together. I think that a lot of, I know there are different pockets of people doing it, but a lot of us work in silo. And we need to get together to network together and help one another. And that leads me to my next question, as in, how important do you think that women especially should support one another in helping each other succeed?
Women, we are each other's biggest cheerleaders, and we are also each other's failures.
Right.
That's how women are, whether you like it or not. Women are very critical, but sometimes we need to come together, network together, and know that we're here for the common good. When you succeed, I will succeed.
That's right.
I mean, for me, in my customers, if my customers have a problem, say they don't have a job, I'm very worried because they need to have a job. They need to do well for all of us to do well. You can't do well just in isolation. So you face these challenges with women, always talking down at each other, being overly critical. But I have been lucky in my business. I think I've been lucky. I would listen to their pain points because they always come with their, okay, Maya, this is not, you guys did this, you guys did this. It's always important to listen to those issues. And when you listen to those issues, you learn from those issues. But I can always tell women, networking is very important.
Very.
There's a way I have run my business. My customers have become my friends. I like that network because I make so many people meet each other in my shop and become friends. So many people, I say, oh, this lady works in oil and gas. You work in oil and gas. And they get talking. So that's how we all collaborate. We really need to have that collaboration and that networking for us to move up the ladder of success.
Absolutely. So important.
It's so important. It is very important.
Maya hit it right at the head. There we need to collaborate more, and some of us also we need to be teachable. Because you see a lot of women entrepreneurs who have done so well, and you as an emerging entrepreneur, you get connected or get to network and meet those like-minded women, and the next thing you're competing with them. How do you compete with someone who's been in business for more than 30 years? And you have a lot to learn from. So for me, networking is very important. Networking has been part of my game changer in both career, entrepreneurship, and in my social life. I don't joke with networking. It has opened a lot of access to people that ordinarily you wouldn't be able to work with, or with networking. And networking rights. Not bugging people when you get that network access and then you just start bugging them. No, you know the right thing to do, and you network with the right people. When I mean right people is, for instance, they talk about mentors. How do you choose your mentors? You must first of all, know your objective, whether in business or in personal life, and then choose mentors that align with what you're doing. Not just choosing mentors because, oh, you're on social media, you're watching one entertainer,
Right,
oh,
right.
that's my mentor.
Right,
What do you hope to learn from such a person if it's not your your line of
Somebody that
duty?
aligns with your vision.
Exactly,
Very
someone that
important.
aligns with your vision. So I don't joke with that a lot. And also, you know, the people who, the women who have really made it up there, to also create like a networking pool for budding entrepreneurs or for emerging women.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pull each other up.
Pull
Yeah.
each other up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, some people have this, oh, it's me or me kind of attitude. And I think we as women, when we come together, we make things
We're
happen.
unstoppable. That's
Yeah,
right.
when women come together, we make things happen. But when women tear each other,
Yeah, apart.
it becomes very, you know, very, really bad.
Yeah.
So I think we need to imbibe that spirit of collaboration,
That's
spirit of
it.
oneness.
Yeah.
Oh, if I have Pam doing this, rather than say, oh, I'm going to start my own, why don't you collaborate with Pam that is already doing it and all that, rather than say, oh, she's doing it, why can't I have to do it? And maybe it's not your niche, you don't have a passion for
Exactly.
that.
Right.
Exactly.
But because simply because Pam is doing it and excelling, you just want to compete with her and you start doing it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, that's not your area.
Yeah.
That's not your area of
Yeah.
specialization or your passion. So I don't belong to that school of thought. I belong to the school of thought that you must. That's why in Maba we're open to partnerships. We're open to collaboration. If you're doing something and I love what you're doing, kudos. Let's do it. I can come on your show and I talk. I don't need to run, go and start real talk with Flora.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand? Because Pam is doing real talk with Pam and is doing well.
Yeah.
The next thing you
Yeah.
see me, oh, real talk with Flora.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and that's
Yeah.
what you see all over
All over
social
social
media.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Someone has excelled in her fashion. This is what you love. This is what you love doing.
Yeah.
I mean, because anyone that likes fashion, it doesn't just start yesterday. It starts like,
Yeah.
you know, it's something you start doing
Yeah.
very early in your life. So because of that, oh, she's doing well. The next thing is I'm going to look for tailors that will start sewing because I want to compete with her.
That's it.
So
Right.
if we remove that kind of attitude or that kind of character
Right.
and form more collaborative energy,
Yeah.
positive energy, and align with what others are doing, push them up, you know,
Yeah.
give them kudos, and then face your own and work with them
Exactly.
when you have to.
Right.
It will make the world a better
Very
place
well
for women.
spoken.
Absolutely,
Very well
I
spoken.
agree. And also, I think to add on to that, you guys have said it all, but to add on to that, very important, be an information sharer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you learn, you know, if you have valuable information that you think will help somebody,
Right.
share it. Don't
Right,
withhold
right,
it.
right,
And I
right.
find that I've had experiences where people withhold information.
That's true.
And I think that is actually, for lack of a better word, that is evil.
No,
It
you
is
know, the
actually.
thing is, what I find in the fashion industry, for example, people do not share information about where they are hiring their tailors from,
Right.
where they are
Sourcing
getting their admin
materials.
from, where they are sourcing materials from. It's just supposed to be like your personal knowledge because it's your business. And I struggle with that. I have actually struggled with that. I have a lady in Abuja and she calls me. She called me one day, Mayin, I just want to ask a question, please. I hope you don't mind. I said, no, what's the question? Can you tell me where you get your batik fabric from? And I was like, oh yeah, I have this guy in Oshobo, I have this one here, I have this. She was like, are you serious? You're sharing this information with me?
Right.
I said, yes. She said, seriously? I said, yes. Are you sure this is where you get this info? I said, this is where I get them from. And she was so impressed. I mean, like yesterday, Jide Batik, I buy a lot of fabrics from Jide Batik. He called me and said, Mayin, I want to give you a gift. I said, really? Jide. He said, my wife just called me and my wife said, do you know out of all the people that buy bulk from you, it's only Mayin that refers customers to you.
Right.
That most of the people don't want them people to know where they're buying their fabric. I said, really? Why? You know? So information, it's very important.
Yes.
Sharing information
Yes.
is so important because the sky is so big. You cannot do it all.
big.
You can't do it all,
You can't
and you
do it
don't know
all.
where that will lead you just by sharing that information.
True.
You don't know what collaboration that you might
Exactly.
come up with. You don't know who is going to be looking at you and saying, you know, I can use that person
That's true.
because
And-
you've shared that information.
And you stand to gain because when I told that lady about this Adira and told her this is where I get, she said she was going to Turkey. I said, oh, you get bouquets? I said, I would like to go. She said, I'll take you. And she took me to Turkey.
There you go. Amazing.
So it was a win-win for
Win-win.
both of us.
Love it. Love it.
That takes me to this particular story about our community that we've started, the Maba community, doing a lot of information share. When I share to the community members, we use it to improve and all that. So do you know that I went to an event organized by Smith and Sterling Bank, and while we were there, someone just started speaking about Maba, you know, how she's been able to do a lot in our community. And then one other lady there said, "Are you a member?" She said yes. And then she said she's been trying to, there's a particular lady who is in the fashion, it's always this fashion sector, there's in the fashion industry, and she's gained a lot from Maba. Through Maba, she's been able to export her fashion wares to 1 or 2 countries abroad. She's been able to improve, she's been able to do a lot. And then she's all about Maba. So each time she posts about Maba on her platform, this very entrepreneur that was complaining asked her, "Please, I love this community. I would like to join." Instead of giving her the link to join, she tells her, "Oh, they're not taking any more people."
Oh, wow.
Just because she doesn't want to, because she's in the same fashion industry with her. So she doesn't want her to come in and get access to export her products to different countries abroad.
Wow.
She's withheld that information, and she's told this lady off that no, they don't accept membership anymore, and even if you want to join, it's ₦1,000,000.
Oh, wow.
So that scared the lady away. So the member who was talking said, "Oh, meet the founder. Now God has brought you together with the founder. Let's discuss." It was like, I don't even want to know who the person is.
Yes, right.
That's not true. That information is totally wrong. This and she's joined now and she's become a member.
That's
Wow.
a
And I
great
had to put out
story.
that in the community platform. I said, why do people do this? Women, we need to do better.
Yeah.
Why do you hoard information that you know is going to make someone else
Better.
business to grow or
That's
make
it.
someone better?
Yeah.
So this has been a big problem in the circle of women. And I also tell them, your circle is important.
Yes.
I also am very particular
Very good.
about the circle of women I interact with.
Yes.
If I see you're a woman who is open-minded and have this growth mentality, I align with you.
Absolutely.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
When I see you're one of those highly competitive women, I stay off.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I always say to people, find your tribe.
Yeah.
And your tribe are people
Yeah.
who share the same
Values
with
as
you.
you do.
Absolutely.
Yes. Very
Absolutely.
important.
So,
Absolutely. Great. So, last but not the least, you guys have been entrepreneurs for quite a while. You've learned a lot, made some mistakes. I want you to
still learning.
Yeah. I want you to tell me or our viewers top 3 things that you've learned, top 3 lessons that you've learned as entrepreneurs.
1, success is failure turned upside down. 2, collaboration over competition. 3, stay focused. Do you. Be authentic. Authenticity outplays every other thing.
Great.
Those are my 3.
Amazing. How about you, Mayan?
For me, it's persistence. You have to be persistent. And you have to be consistent. And you have to be authentic. It's so important.
Very.
If you don't do those 3 things, it's not just passion that will drive it. It's these 3 things. Persistence, consistent, and authentic.
I love how authenticity is coming up in this conversation. Fantastic. Okay, so last but not the least, I did say that one was the last, but I'd like you to look in the camera and tell any budding entrepreneur, who wants to start their own business, what advice would you give them, particularly running a business in Nigeria where we've talked about how the terrain can be challenging, but what advice would you give them?
I would say do not be afraid to fail. Failure is part of the journey. And if you fail, you learn from it. Do not give up because it's inevitable, you will fail. Secondly, I would say stay true to yourself. Again, be authentic. Just stay true to yourself. Just ignore all the noise around you, the competition around you, and stay true to your value and to your vision. It is so important. And thirdly, learn your financials. Learn your financials because business, you need that costing, pricing, budgeting, everything. So that's what I'll tell a budding entrepreneur. So lastly, give back to your community. Always remember to give back. Be a mentor or a peer but do something. Just give back. It's very important.
Excellent.
Well said. Okay, so my advice to emerging entrepreneurs or startup entrepreneurs is first of all, stay focused, remain focused. FOCUS. Those 5 letter words, don't ever
Trade is for anything.
drift. Forget the distractions. Remain focused on your journey. Focus on your journey. You can take learnings from what others are doing, but please remain focused on your journey. Avoid distractions. That's one. Then two, of course, learn your financials. I'm a sucker for knowledge, not just financials. Learn. Be have a growth mindset. Have a knowledge mindset. Be teachable. If you have people who have done it better than you, learn from them. I have been a product of mentorship. I have loads of mentors in different areas, in different aspects of the economy or entrepreneurship. I have mentors who have done it. If I want something, if I want to learn on economy, I have mentors that mentor me through on that scale acquisition, different things. Just great mentors for everything you want to achieve, and be teachable. It is important to be teachable. I learn a lot and I'm open to new learnings because in the journey of entrepreneurship, you don't even know anything. You don't know it all and you don't even know anything. You keep learning to improve every day.
Right.
Whether you have 10 years experience, 15 years experience, there's something new to learn every day. So be teachable. And third, be determined, be resilient. You know, challenges, they're part of entrepreneurship. Are you going to face one? You're going to face tons of them. But be able to have that open mind to move or turn your challenges into opportunities. And that's what makes entrepreneurship.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, ladies. It's been amazing. I've learned a lot as well. And I wish you success on your continual journey of entrepreneurship. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
us.
Real Talk with
Pam.
Pam.
Yes.
We had so much fun being
Authenticity
here.
Conversation. Bye for now.